Is this you? Don't worry pal, I'm going to teach you how to not die in Warzone. What's up guys, it's Average Owl making average content for the average viewer, and today I'm going to add another video to my how to stop dying in Warzone series. If you haven't seen my other two videos, make sure you check them out after this one. Okay, so there are a few things in life that make anyone's blood boil. Like people eating something really crunchy like cucumber or celery right in your ear. Or taking a bite of what should be a delicious pizza only to find out that the cheese is hotter than Margot Robbie covered in lava and taking all of the skin off of the roof of your mouth. But more than anything, something that will make any gamer go from Gandhi to Stalin in less than 2 seconds is taking a completely avoidable death in a battle royale game. God, I'm getting hot under the collar just talking about it. So today, I want to give you guys some tips and tricks to help you live longer and die less in Warzone. So let's talk about it. Number 1, corner like a pro. Okay, so in real life, if you were to clear a room, one would think that the best way would be to take it slowly and tactically. Now I just want to point out, I actually have no clue what the best way to clear a room in real life is. I'm just a builder with a love for video games. With that being said, I do know how to take a corner in Warzone. So in any online multiplayer shooter, you will have to contend with something called peeker's advantage. This means that the person who is peeking a corner will always see their enemy first. This is because each online server has what is called a tick rate. Please bear in mind that this is going to be a very dumbed down explanation, but just know that it's not for your sake, it's just because I'm a dumbed down kind of guy. Now the tick rate basically determines how many times a second information is updated to the players in the server. So what this means for you is that if you take a corner in the game slowly and tactically, then you will be giving the server more of a chance to update the other player, and the chances are if they're holding an angle on the door for example, then they will spot you quickly and get the first shots off. However, there is a way to benefit from peeker's advantage, and that is by taking a corner extremely fast. Now you can do this by sliding, but I would say the absolute best way to do this would be by jumping around the corner and getting as far into the room as possible. This will do two things. First of all, the peeker's advantage will mean that you will see your enemy a fraction of a second sooner, and also because you have jumped through their line of sight, they will have to take the time to adjust and track your movement, by which time you'll have pumped them full of lead and you'll be hearing that brief moment of joy when the game chat lets you hear that they have just called you a sweaty bugger. Now if you don't get that, let me just show you. Number 2, know your enemies. Okay, so this one is a very situational tip for how to die less in Warzone, but if I'm being completely honest with you, I just wanted to put this clip in the video because otherwise it would have been wasted. Okay, so very rarely in Warzone, you'll come across an opportunity to befriend the enemy. This can happen fairly regularly in the new Stimulus Solos mode. For example, in this clip, I'm playing and I have just respawned somewhere near Dam, and as I floated gracefully to the ground, I met this sprightly young chap. We floated down together and there was an unspoken truce that when we landed, we would become friends until the end and live happily ever after. However, you have to remember that in these situations, you are dealing with people. And people were responsible for World War II and listen to Coldplay. You just can't trust people. Number 3, always have a plan. Okay, there are going to be plenty of times where you will be running around in the open trying to get from one point to another. One mistake that I am seeing way too many people making is seeing a piece of cover in the distance and making a beeline straight for it through an open field like a horse with blinders on. And then, because they might as well have a giant sign on their head that says "I'm an idiot, put me out of my misery," they inevitably start taking shots. Now, what most people tend to do in this sort of situation is start jiggling around and doing a dance like a backward chimp getting tased, and then they get absolutely lasered and sent to the gulag quicker than it takes for the tear to form in their eye. This is because they didn't have a plan. So what you should always do when running anywhere in Warzone is always move from cover to cover, or at the very least have a plan of action or a route that you can take for when things do inevitably go wrong. This way, you won't get caught with your pants down and you'll live to fight another day. Number 4, don't be a Scrooge. Remember the Dickens book, A Christmas Carol? And Ebenezer Scrooge didn't spend any of his money and then he had an awful night, and it basically taught him not to be a tight-fisted, steaming pile of smegma. Well, you can learn this lesson way before it comes to the point that you're being visited by effigies in the night by starting to spend your money right now. Now, with the exception of the new solo mode, there is absolutely no point in you racking up thousands of dollars over the course of a match just to die with it and end up giving it to your enemy. So if you have the cash, buy that self-revive without hesitation. Even if your friends call it a selfish purchase, they won't be saying that when you are able to pull off a classic Undertaker and rise from the dead and save them in the late game. And if you have the money for 2 UAVs and everyone else has a self-revive and a kill streak, then pop one straight away and buy another to save for later. Spending money on UAVs, especially early game, can give you invaluable information, and knowing that someone is a lot closer than you thought can really help you die less in Warzone. Number 5. Be random. Okay, so as you play more and more Battle Royale games, you'll start to be able to anticipate what an enemy is going to do. If you shoot someone in the open, you can pretty much hardscope their nearest piece of cover and they'll run straight into your next shot. Now, if you watch any of the really good Warzone players on YouTube, you'll notice that the thing they hate the most is when people don't do what they expect them to do. Players being weird and playing in odd ways is often what is going to get these guys killed the most. Now granted, more often than not, the reason that these players are playing so out of the ordinary is because they are new to the game and don't understand the core mechanics yet. But if you can intentionally make your movements odd and out of the ordinary, then I promise you, you will get the upper hand on even the best opponents. Number 6. Don't land center circle. A lot of people that you'll play with will undoubtedly have this bad habit, and I'll hold my hands up and I'll say that I'm guilty of it myself. But landing right in the center of the circle is very rarely a good idea. Unless of course you're pulling 20 to 30 kill games consistently, but if that's the case, you're probably at the wrong video, mate. Anyway, the reason that I say this is because by landing dead center circle, you are putting yourself in a situation that by definition means that you will always be 100% surrounded. Now this can make for fun games, of course it can, but the emphasis of this video is how not to die in Warzone, and by landing like this, your chances of getting snuck up on and getting full on Brokeback Mountained is increased tenfold. Instead, try and land on the outskirts of the zone. I'm not saying just land in a 4x8 shed in the middle of nowhere, but if you can survive landing on the edge of the circle, then when the zone comes in, if you rotate around the zone whilst the gas encroaches, then 2 things will happen. First, because the gas is coming in on one side of you, you don't have to be worried about people coming from there. And second, because you are rotating around the circle, you know that behind you is clear because you were there literally 10 seconds ago. This means that the angles where you could be shot from are essentially cut in half, and this drops the likelihood of you getting caught off guard dramatically. So there we have it, some more tips for how to die less in Warzone. I really hope you enjoyed them. If you enjoyed this type of content and want to see more crude jokes alongside some valuable Warzone tips, then it would make my day if you'd subscribe. Now, as those of you who have watched this channel for a while will know, I like to ask a random question at the end of the video to see who has stuck around until the end. So if you're still here, I'd like you to let me know by answering this question down below. In the clip I showed near the beginning where I made a friend, was I right to kill him, or should I have stayed with him until the end and risked him killing me? Anyway, that's it from me today. I'm Average Joel. Peace.